Welcome to A Mason's Work, the podcast where we review Masonic symbols and illustrate how they can be used to solve problems in everyday life. With your host, Brian Mattox, a proud member of the Craftsman Online Media Network.
Behaviorally, when we take on the role of secretary, we gain the ability to look across our entire sort of collective memory of our own sort of experience and look for lots of different things. First and foremost, when we're recording honestly, we can start to look across the things we have learned or the experiences we've had and articulate patterns and repetitions. Patterns and repetitions are a great place to start when it comes to analyzing your behaviors from a different role. But you need to be able to collect those insights, and the secretary's sort of mental function is the one that does that. So when you're sitting down and you're going, man, I feel like I've learned this already once before, grab your secretary's apron, put it on, start thinking through the other times that you may have experienced this. Like we discussed yesterday, it's very likely that your memories are encoded with emotional content. Your memories are also going to be encoded with sort of irrelevant factual content, stuff that may or may not have been accurately recorded at the time because you didn't have enough information or context or insight. When we start to look at ways to best leverage the memories that we've recorded, one of the things you're going to want to do is understand that the memories that you have, regardless of how much you've tried to cultivate them in a open and honest way or in a factual way, are always going to be imperfect. They are recorded by the mind of the time. So first and foremost, if you remember something from your childhood, even though you might be able to recall it in vivid detail in your adult mind, the secretary that recorded it at the time was a child. That secretary function that encoded that memory in your brain didn't have all of the capacities that you have, didn't have all of the knowledge and insights that you've gained since. And as such, the emotional content that accompanies those memories that you recorded when you were a child very likely is something that sort of no longer meaningfully applies. That if you can step from if you can step out of that headspace for a moment that recorded that memory, you might be able to be like, yeah, that was ridiculous. I was really upset about that for reasons I don't fully understand. Let me see if I can break it down and reprocess. This sort of referential, sort of behavioral analysis, memory analysis, seems like a rabbit hole. And quite frankly, it is for most people. The moment you start trying to connect the dots with your memories and say, this is what caused that, and that's what caused this, you're really getting to a situation where you have to describe the entire operation of the universe in order to explain anything that ever happened. So with that in mind, the interest here for the secretary role is not necessarily to kind of relive the entirety of your life, one chapter at a time or one event at a time. The idea is when you're confronted with a situation that you may not understand or have the context for, work backwards through what you remember about it, strip off the emotional content, strip off the unnecessary rationalizations or the unnecessary ego perspective that comes with it, and see if you can approach that memory or that event from a factual perspective. From there, you should be able to then work through maybe the other layers that you've encoded with that memory, like the emotional content or like the ego content, but you can do it with a understanding, a grounding in the facts of the event, so that you can process those emotional responses or those other responses from sort of different perspectives in the lodge room and say, okay, well, maybe that was an irrational response given these facts, or maybe the way I remember this doesn't pay homage to the other people in the room that were trying really hard to do something else at the time. But you can't get there until you can take some of the content, sort of separate it out, process it, and separate the the feelings from the thoughts, and then the thoughts from the actual events. When we consciously start to do this for your plans moving forward, when you actively record memory in a way that says, listen, I just need to write down what actually happened, and then I can write down separately what I felt about what happened. You begin the process of being able to create useful data for future versions of you that need this kind of support.
The views represented in this podcast are those of the speaker alone and are not representative of any grand or subordinate lodge.
Hi, Brian here. I wanted to thank you so much for listening to this episode. If you have any suggestions or guidance for further episodes you'd like to see or hear, whatever the case may be, please don't hesitate to reach out to me at amasonswork.com, and we will try and incorporate your suggestions into a future recording. Thanks.
Freemasonry teaches us that the true work is within, a lifelong journey of reflection, discipline, and discovery. At A Mason's Work, we help Masons bring out their best selves through meaningful self-inquiry and symbolic practice. From personal reflection to lodge engagement, we offer tools that turn symbols into action. Visit us at amasonswork.com. The work is within. The time is now.